and welcome back to Sizzling Hot with Sarah Michelle. My name is Sarah Michelle, and I'm so glad to have you back here today. Before we begin, I want to start off by letting you know that we are planning on having a giveaway. However, it depends on you guys. Yes, I want to get to 100 subscribers by the end of this month. So make sure that if you're watching us for the very first time, you subscribe to my channel, you tell your mom to subscribe to my channel, you tell your dad and your dog and your uncle that lives on the other side of the country, okay? So today, I actually have a guest all the way from back home in New Jersey. I have Abel Perez. Welcome, Abel, to Sizzling Hot with SM.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. And actually, let me just correct you. You said back home. I think what you mean is back home in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. Well, actually, you're back home both in the Dominican Republic and in New Jersey. So,
That's right.
It's 2 for 2. It's 2 for 2. Abel, tell the people a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, I'm from New Jersey. I'm a Rutgers alumni. I love college sports. I'm just really passionate about sports, and I'm just really excited to be on the show and then talk some sports with you, talk NCAA, talk baseball. Let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it. Before we begin, I want to let you guys know that we are going to be making Cuban sandwiches. Abel chose it, and I was like, this is like the greatest thing ever. It's easy. It involves steak, which who doesn't love steak, and bread, which is one of my favorite things in the world.
And hopefully I don't burn anything today in the kitchen, so let's see how that goes.
Okay, let's get started, guys. Okay, now we're back. So before we began the show, I told Abel that he had to season his steak because this is not just your regular salt and pepper steak. This is a steak sandwich. So we want to make sure that it is as flavorful as possible with all the seasoning, all the flavor of the Caribbean. So I told him that he had to season his steak last night and marinate overnight so that it would taste just exquisite today. Let me see your steak, Abel.
So this is what I got. I did this all by myself, so please, I probably failed this or I passed. And I guess we're not going to know until we try it. But I even put a little bit of lemon on that, so we'll see how that feels.
I think it's gonna...
I'm really excited to try it.
I think it's gonna taste really good, so I'm excited. I'm excited too. Okay, let's pour some oil into our saucepans. Is your saucepan hot already?
Yeah, it's starting to heat up. I actually put some oil on it already, so...
Okay.
Just spread that across.
Okay, my saucepan is hot, so I will wait for you and we can begin the questions. And then when it's time to put the steak in, I'll let you know, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, perfect. So brackets are opening tonight. We're gonna start with NCAA basketball today. Brackets are opening tonight.
Yes.
I'm really excited. I have never been so excited because last year we missed out on an opportunity to actually even fill out a bracket because of COVID. And this year it's just like everyone and their mama is doing a bracket. So I want to begin talking about Michigan. Michigan is kind of the dark horse of, NCAA. Nobody really saw them coming, but Juwan Howard he took a program in less than favorable circumstances and he just came in. He came with punching. He came punching. And unfortunately, Michigan had the devastating loss against Illinois a few days ago, and they lost to Ohio State last night. So, where do you think that they went wrong? And do you think that it was something that maybe Ohio State took advantage of? They saw that their Achilles heel when they played Illinois, and they were just like, okay, this is their soft spot. This is what we have to target.
No, I think there's a few things to really look at here. I think first things first, Michigan is a phenomenal team, top to bottom, really talented, really big. So, they cause havoc on the defensive end because of their length. And then offensively, they just don't make mistakes. They move the ball. They're very efficient. However, the Big Ten, as we all know, is a gauntlet this year. Top to bottom, any team can beat you day in, night out. There's no days off.
Yes.
And throughout the first half of the season, Michigan they just beat every team that they were encountering It was really easy for the talent that they have on the team. They were able to just cruise across that first half. I think the second half is where they started facing the more challenging teams in the Big Ten, which has brought them some concerns, things to look into. I think they're just banged up. I think as they start facing some of the more competitive teams in the Big Ten and, throughout the journey of the season, it's just a team that's a bit banged up. And also considering the storylines of the season, this team is in first place. They were kind of easing through a lot of the wins, destroying teams by 30 points. This is a team that's probably not as motivated. They're just ready to get into the NCAA. And you have teams like Illinois, Ohio State that are close second and third spots in the Big Ten rankings that want to beat or defeat this top team in the Big Ten. And Illinois is just a phenomenal team, top to bottom. Excellent. They're another number one seed for the NCAA brackets. And it's not a bad loss for Michigan at all. I think 30 points, no one wants to lose by 30 points. But when you look at, the phrase that we've all heard, you're never as bad as your worst loss or as good as your best win.
Yes.
I think they just move forward from this. Obviously, in the Big Ten tournament, Ohio State comes in. This team is on a roll. And Michigan just couldn't, it was a 1-point loss. This is an excellent team as well. I think this doesn't mean anything in terms of concerns from Michigan fans. I think this is a team well positioned to go on a deep run, Final Four contender for the NCAA tournament this season.
Nice. Okay. Wow. That is awesome. Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I think that I really like how you said that they're not as bad as their worst loss or as good as their best win. So I think that that's something for them to consider, and I hope that they're not too beat up about it. But now today at 2:30 here in Texas, 3 o'clock over there, 3:30 over there, Illinois and Ohio State are facing off. So who do you think will actually, be able to take that number 2 spot?
That's a very good question. Ohio State is a great team. They're very good defensively. But I have to go with Illinois. I think Illinois is a team to beat right now in the Big Ten. They are on fire. They're playing the best basketball they've played the entire season. They're as good as anyone when they're at their best. They just beat a Michigan team without their best player, Ayo Dosunmu, who's, to me, a 1B contender for Player of the Year. Luka Garza, also on the Big Ten, phenomenal player. But Ayo Dosunmu is a close second in the national standings for Player of the Year. This team is so good. They beat you in the glass. They are top 10 by KenPom in efficiency on the defensive end and also on the offensive end. So you're talking about a team that will stop you and will also score. They're elite at scoring the ball. They have some freshman guards. Andre Curbelo is a phenomenal player this year. So they're really deep as well. I think it's a team that's going to move the ball, they're going to score the ball, and they're going to, cause havoc for you on the defensive end. I just think that Ohio State has enough talent to compete, but I think in the end, Illinois is just going to overpower them. I think they're just too deep, and they really want this win.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Illinois too, and my reasoning was not as well thought out as that. I just thought that if you could beat Michigan while they were on a roll, you can do it. I think you can do it. So before we continue with our line of questioning, I want to make sure that we put the steak in because we want to make sure that it cooks on time. So whenever you're ready, just get your steak. Make sure that you put the oil in the pan.
Yep, here we go.
Here we go. And very carefully, we're going to just lay this steak in there. Oh, you already got it. Okay, you're ahead of me. Yeah.
Very good. Oh, it's sizzling.
It's sizzling. I know. We always want a good sizzle on the show. If I don't get a good sizzle, then what's the point of the show, right? Okay.
That's right.
Let's continue. Okay. So now we've talked about the teams that everyone is just raving on about. Let's talk about the teams that people did not expect to get so far. So what teams have you seen that are going to be entering the tournament that you did not expect to see this year?
There's quite a few. but just to kind of bring up two or three teams that I thought have been really competitive this year and probably were not on most people's radar. I have to go first with the team that my alma mater. I have to go with Rutgers.
Yes.
30-year drought for the NCAA. I mean, we're talking 1991 being the last time that Rutgers was able to make the NCAA tournament. This was the longest drought for any Power 5 conference team. And finally, they break the drought. They're able, they went 15-11 this season in one of the most competitive seasons we've ever seen in the Big Ten. KenPom ranks this season as the best league in history of KenPom, which is 2002, wow. So close to 20 years. So this is arguably the best conference in college basketball today that we've seen in the last 10, 15 years for sure. So for Rutgers to be able to do that in a year like this, where we were dealing with COVID, we're dealing with cancellation of games, a lot of uncertainty, I think is a phenomenal win for the program. And it shows that they're going in the right direction. And we're just really excited. For the first time ever, I am going to sit down on Selection Sunday and be excited to hear my school's name being mentioned. So I'm really looking forward to that. So definitely one team to look out for this in your brackets. And, in the Big Ten, any team in the Big Ten, I think is one that can make a deep run based on how competitive that league is this season. Another team to talk about is the Georgetown Hoyas who just made history yesterday. Patrick Ewing doing a phenomenal job winning the Big East. They were middle of the pack in the Big East, and they surprised everyone by going on a run, and they just certified their name being mentioned as well in Selection Sunday. So this is a team that's on a streak. You definitely want to consider them, and they're hot, they're red hot. There's a team ready to go. So very excited about them. And then finally, Georgia Tech surprising everyone, winning the ACC, which we know historically has put out some of the best programs, some of the best teams coming into NCAA with North Carolina, with Duke University. And so really excited about them and what they can potentially do in this season's tournament. So those are teams you definitely want to consider.
Okay, wow. Thank you for that. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about Duke really fast because Duke is an example of what may happen if things go awry during the tournament. There is always a possible threat that this could turn into a very dangerous event. So what do you think?
Yeah.
What steps do you think that game officials need to take in order to not make this what it was going to be last year? Go ahead.
No, absolutely. No, I mean, right now, the NCAA hasn't really released what procedures are going to happen officially once a team, has a COVID positive test. We don't really know. Right now, that could be potentially the one obstacle a team has to face or get over in order to continue its run in the tournament. As we saw, Duke was not expected to make the tournament necessarily anymore, but by getting this last positive test, that really just pushed them out of contention, not being able to go on a run in their ACC tournament. And so that's right now the only obstacle a lot of teams have, and we know this year has been so difficult in teams having to get testing sometimes twice in a 2-day span to make sure that they're able to take off masks and go on the court. So it's going to be really challenging having the entire tournament in one location, talking about 68 teams there, moving in and out from courts, how they're going to go about cleaning, now having fans in the arenas. I'm looking forward to see how they're going to go about this. But nevertheless, this is a big moment for our communities, our society. We have finally something to look forward to. And having fans in the stand, I think, is a positive step. But still, the jury's out on how the NCAA is really going to go about this and how they're going to handle this entire situation.
Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that they're probably going to take a page out of the NBA last year, maybe something like that, just to make sure that we protect our players and we make sure that this goes as seamlessly as possible. So I wish them the best, of course. Now, lastly, before we flip our steak and get to the cutting and the sandwich assembling, I want to talk about bracket tips. I'm gonna personally give the Sizzling Hot with SM viewers a bracket tip. The way that I choose my teams on the bracket is based on the color of their jerseys, because I don't take brackets too seriously, and I think it's after the first round, I think 75% of all brackets are like basically useless. So I'm just like,
Gone.
Whatever. Yeah, the amount of research and time it would take for me to make the right choices every single time, I just don't have the emotional energy to do. So you, because you are very knowledgeable about this, what bracket tips do you want to offer our viewers today?
Usually I focus, and I'm worried I might burn my steak, so I should probably.
Yeah, let's flip it. Let's flip it. Yeah, I'm watching the time. It was 6 minutes, but I think we're gonna just get a good crust on it. Yeah. How's it looking?
Looking good.
Yeah, you don't want to touch it for a few minutes. You want to make sure that it develops that nice crust, because that first side is the pretty side. It's the money shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where I get worried.
No, it's okay.
No, I think we're gonna be fine.
So bracket tips, I mean.
Yeah, so bracket tips. I mean, listen, there's so many ways to go about this, and any of them can work. There's never like a set I guess format that works every season or that works every year. Every year changes. I've seen people go from just choosing mascots and their favorite mascots, and they have a better chance than someone who did a full analysis on teams' strengths of schedule and on the statistics that the teams were putting. So, for me, what I usually tend to use as my my criteria is how deep a team is in talent. How many scorers do they have in double figures? Because I follow the sport, I have a lot of knowledge in a lot of the teams that are coming in. I read a lot. I try to keep up with podcasts, but also how much veteran presence does the team have? Teams that are led by seniors tend to go further for the most part in greater volume, because these guys are battle tested. They fought their way into the tournament, and they know what it takes to win big games, and they come big in huge moments. So I like teams that tend to have a bigger, better veteran presence. And I think this season specifically, I look at the Big Ten and the Big 12 as the two leagues where, so the teams that classify from these leagues can go on really deep runs based on how difficult it was in those leagues. And I think they have an advantage over a lot of the other teams because of how battle tested they were. A lot of close games, night in, night out was a battle. So I'd go with the Big Ten and the Big 12 as leagues you want to potentially put above the rest of the pack. And teams that have veteran presence are probably my two criteria this season.
All right, guys, we are going to finish our steaks off camera because I think that they're about to be ready. We have to let them rest for 10 minutes, and then we will be right back. All right, so before we begin with anything, Abel, I just want to talk about some trades and acquisitions that happened because I think these are really important things that we just most definitely have to touch on before we do anything else. And then I want to see if you think that this trade or acquisition will make or break the team. So we're going to start with pitchers first. Are you ready?
Here to go. Let's do it.
Okay, so Trevor Bauer to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Bauer. We have our Cy Young winner last year. Phenomenal pitcher. I guess the question really is, can he do it for the long haul? Can he do it for a season where we play, over 160 games? He's probably gonna have a lot of outings this season. And the off the field things, I think he's very involved with the social media platforms and communicating his feelings on issues or things. How does that impact the locker room, or being now in the city of Los Angeles where everything is heightened or put at a higher platform because of the media outlets there? I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go with breaks because I think the Dodgers they're really good, they're really deep. If they're able to get past all of that and the added pressure of having a guy like Trevor Bauer and the antics he has, off the field, I'm gonna go with break. I don't think he helps But that's
Okay.
my personal opinion. So we'll see how that really formalizes as the season goes on.
Okay. I see you're not assembling your sandwich, so you can start
I am
assembling
not.
your sandwich. It's okay. I know, we're going to get really into it. All right, so
I'm not
let's
good
go
at
to the next one.
multitasking. So.
It's okay. You take whatever time you need. All right, Snell to San Diego for Patino to Tampa Bay.
Snell to San Diego. I mean, I really like Tony Snell. I mean, the guy 2018 won the Cy Young. He's a phenomenal pitcher. Somewhat underutilized in Tampa Bay last season and the previous 2 seasons. So really curious to see how he, turns a corner here in San Diego. I have to say, this is one of those that definitely is a make or break for a team. But I have to go with makes. I think this season we're going to see a rejuvenated Snell with the Padres. And again, this team has one of the most expensive rosters in all of Major League Baseball. Their infield alone is almost $1 billion.
Yes.
But they have so much talent. How does that translate into championships? I mean, I don't know. I don't think necessarily, the high expensive players translate into championships. I actually did a full college project on statistics on how does big salaries translate to championships and to winning in all sports, across all sports. And that analysis gave us the feedback that not necessarily big salaries translate into winning. It just translates into talented players in your roster. That's really all it means. Winning, there's other ingredients that need to be in place in order for teams to succeed heavily in postseason, not just in baseball, but in all other sports as well. So we'll see how this team is able to kind of turn the corner. So far in preseason, they haven't showed us, I guess, what we're looking for. But again, it's preseason. I guess we'll have to wait and see as the season goes on.
Okay. And you think Luis Patino, do you think he's going to be an asset to Tampa Bay, or do you think that he's just...
I think so. I think there's a lot of questions with Patino as well. But this is a phenomenal player. That division, though, is very competitive. And are the Tampa Bays really set up for being successful now in a 164-game gauntlet? I guess we'll have to see. Right now, I really like how the team is built. I really like Aros Arena. I mean, that guy is...
I love Randy.
A monster, right? This guy is video game numbers that he put last year. Can he do it consistently? We know good players go through their droughts or stretches where they're not able to perform at a high level. How does he rebound? This entire team has the names. They have the roster in place to succeed in this division. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I say that he does make this team more competitive in the American East division.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Now, how are you doing with assembling your sandwich?
Listen, I am not very good at multitasking, so this is a first for me. But I think I'm doing good. So I have my spread already. I have my spread done. I guess what is the next step? I guess I'm supposed to start.
Go ahead, put the meat on.
Got it.
And then after the meat, you want to put the cheese. And then after the cheese, put the onions and the pickles. And then I took the liberty of double layering, so I put more meat and more cheese. And my sandwich is like a monster. I have a monster sandwich here.
There we go.
Monster sandwich.
That's a small piece here.
Okay. Now, let's continue. Let's talk about Jameson Taillon to the Yankees. After 2 seasons, I think he was out for 2 seasons because of testicular cancer, and now the Yankees decided to pick him up and add them to their starting rotation. What do you think about him?
I love this pickup. I think Jameson Taillon is a guy that's a fighter. Going through the health conditions that he's fought over the last 2 seasons. I mean, it's a really testament to him and to his family and what they've been able to overcome. But he's made of all the right stuff. The guy has good stuff as a pitcher. I think all the things that you want. I think the biggest question for the Yankees holistically is, are they able to stay healthy? That's been a huge problem for this team throughout the last few seasons with all the high expectations, have the build up, the makeup of the roster that they're looking for. Can they stay healthy? Can Jameson stay healthy this season? I think so, and I'm gonna say he makes the Yankees. I think this is our year. This is our year. I feel really good about the roster and what our general manager and front office have been able to do this season.
Thank you, Brian Cashman.
Yes, Brian Cashman is the man. Can we do it this season? I think he's going to be a key piece in order for us to go on a deep run in the postseason.
Okay, perfect. And lastly, I want to talk about Marcus Stroman to the Mets. He's a young pitcher, lots of talent. What do you think about him?
I'm 50-50 on Marcus Stroman for one reason. I think that the biggest addition to this team wasn't in the pitching necessarily. I think, with DeGrom, you have your guy there. You have the man. You have Noah Syndergaard. You have Carrasco, who also they were able to acquire this offseason. But in the infield now, you have so much talent. You have so much talent in this team. I think I'm 50-50. I don't think that Stroman is a change for this team. I think how the roster looks holistically now, how deep it is, how good it is with hitters. I think, this team is set up to be successful this year. So I'm going to stay 50. I'm going to stay borderline. I don't think Stroman is a difference maker here. I think he's the key piece that was missing I don't think he's a difference maker personally on this roster.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to position players really quickly. I want to talk about 3 players specifically. Starting with Jock Peterson to the Cubs. So that was kind of weird. I mean, Jock Peterson has been putting up amazing numbers for the Dodgers. And so to think that the Cubs would acquire him, what do you think he will add to the team now that he is with them?
Listen, Jock Peterson is a very talented player. He was in a good Dodgers team. And, he was somewhat inconsistent throughout his last few seasons in the pros. I think part of that has been inconsistent roles within a very strong roster. This situation presents a perfect place for him to be. I think with the Cubs, he can really help them turn a corner. So I'm going to go with make. I think Jock Peterson makes the Cubs. How successful are they going to be? I still don't know. I think, I think there's a long season ahead. I think we're going to see. But he looks really good so far in preseason, and I think he's ready to go. I think this is going to be a big year for him. So I'm excited to see his stuff, what he's able to do this season.
Okay, awesome. Now, George Springer to the Blue Jays. That to me really kind of wow, the Astros decided not to keep him. I mean, George Springer has been crucial to some really important moments in playoff games. He is a big hitter. He knows how to field, just excellent. Really brings the team together, knows how to place the ball wherever he needs to place it, knows how to encourage his teammates. So I was surprised when the Astros decided not to re-sign him. And now he's with the Blue Jays, he's with Vlad, he's with Bo. And, personally, I think that the Blue Jays need to get their pitching rotation a little bit better, to look a little bit better. Yeah. But what do you think about now, about their lineup, about their hitting lineup?
I love George Springer, phenomenal veteran, great presence on the locker room, but I don't think he's going to be the difference maker. I think this team still needs more. I think they don't have enough in the pitching rotation. I don't think they have enough batters or hitters in this lineup. So I'm going to say he doesn't. He doesn't. I don't think he makes this team. And this division is going to be tough this year. Tampa Bay, you got the Yankees to worry about. How competitive can they really be this season? I'm not so sure. So I'm gonna say he doesn't make this team. I guess he doesn't help them turn the corner in the way that some might think so far. That's just a hunch. I have nothing to back that up other than just my intuition. But we'll see. George Springer is a phenomenal player, and he's gonna do some big things for this team. So I just don't think he's a difference maker that they need. They're gonna need more. I might regret saying that later on when we look at the end of the season and we see the results. But I'm going to stand by that at this moment.
All right, Abel, I see that you already put your sandwich back there. It's toasting. My sandwich is ready, but I'm going to wait for you because I have manners. Now, before we move on to our next segment of Major League Baseball, I want to talk about this final player. I want to talk about Tatis Jr. Tatis Jr., you know, he's putting up big numbers, and the Padres just signed him to a multi-million-dollar 14-year contract, and he's only 22 years old, and and shout out to all of the Dominicans. Like, I'm so happy to see Dominicans just putting in the work and getting the rewards and just really representing us in sports. So we see Tatis Jr., he's a little part of, you know, some of major contracts that the Padres have been signing. So do you think that could potentially make them World Series contenders? And do you think this is stable in the long run?
Yeah, no, a very good question. First and foremost, Tatis Jr., I agree with you. Phenomenal talent. This is the guy that turns your organization around. And I think the front office of San Diego, they know that, they see that. He's only 22 years old, making money moves, right? As we say, that this guy, he's already has so much money guaranteed. I mean, you know, in financial terms, he's made it, right? He's made it for the long haul. Now, to your question, which is a very good question, thus this contract and the amount of money that's been invested into this roster, one of the most expensive rosters in all of Major League Baseball, translate into championships. You know, I've done some research on this, and to what I was alluding to earlier with, you know, talking about Snell in San Diego. You know, part of my financial econometrics course back at Rutgers, throughout my academic years going through college, I had the opportunity to build a capstone and to look into, specifically from a statistical standpoint, how much success is really correlated to big contracts and big salaries on a team of any different league, whether NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL. And really what we found is that there's no correlation to championships, because what I mentioned before, there's several ingredients that are needed in order to be successful. Not just talented players, you need good coaching, you need strategy, you need consistency. I think there's a lot of important factors and ingredients into going on a deep run in postseason. And what we learned really is that the only correlation between big contracts and you know, and how that translates into a team is just a more talented team. But again, that's not all. I think we all want talent, but we've seen teams that are extremely talented not be able to turn the corner and really, you know, convert that into championships. So I think the jury's still going to be out for this team, how they're able to, you know, contend and really perform during this season now that there's actual expectations. I think for Dodgers fans, this is a team to watch out, and definitely a contender, in my opinion, with what they have in the rotation with Yu Darvish and with Snell, and also with Machado and this infield as well with Tatis Jr. I'm excited to see this team. They're electric. Too. They're a team full of the right stuff, and they're deep. Yes. So, you know, let's see what San Diego can do. But definitely this does not mean championships, but just means talent. How they do that, I think the question is there, and we'll see how they perform this year.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, go check your sandwich. Please, 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 please. No burnt sandwiches in Sarah Michelle's kitchen. Please, please, please.
Oops.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Wait, can you put that towards the camera really quick?
Yeah, let me just put some things away. Let me flip this really. This looks really, really, really good. I'm really excited. Oh my goodness. All right, so go ahead and put Carlos's sandwich in so that we can continue to the next. You're a good friend. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you for sharing your kitchen with Abel. Shout out to Carlos. This guy's a man. He's helping me today, and he's making sure I don't burn his kitchen down. That's what he's doing. He's supervising. You need a kitchen supervisor. Okay. That's right. So let's move into preseason talk. Baseball is back. It's back right on time, right on schedule. We're looking at a full season ahead. What teams do you think are using this time to really showcase their talents at the moment? Teams that are using this time to showcase their talents. I mean, you can't really take too much out of preseason. It's only preseason. We know baseball is a long year. It's a long season.
Yes.
And it's about runs, stretches, right? Teams can be really good for the beginning, middle of the year. They don't perform as well. Then they pick it up again in September, August, right? So how do you look at preseason? You try to look at trends. You try to look at, which players seem to be ready to go. They came in and they're prepared. And for pitchers, I think, which is the big focus on spring training is, does this guy, are these guys able to hit their spots? Are they able to get the ball where they want it to be? And some teams that really have stood out, I think, right away is, to me, Kansas City. Do I believe in their success right now? Do I believe this is a team that's built to go on a long run? I don't know. I think that, being that there were no expectations, we know they have a lot of young players in this roster. They've really hit it off. They're really doing some big things in Kansas City right now. They're 10-3, I think, right now in spring training. Yeah. So, we'll still have to see what they can do. I think that a team that I've been looking a lot at is the Yankees, because there's a lot of questions about pitching right now. And, as a fan, I'm concerned, right? We have a very expensive roster as well. We have we have a deep roster. We have a lot of good players. Pitching has been a key focus, I think, this offseason. We added 2 guys that came with a lot of questions. Corey Kluber, and we talked about Jameson Taillon before. But I think it's very important to look at how these guys are performing thus far. And I have to say that, what I've seen from these 2 pitchers in spring training, it's very exciting. It looks like Corey is starting to hit his stride. Can he be that guy 2 seasons ago? We'll have to see. And Jameson Taillon, as I mentioned before, he has the right stuff. I'm really excited. This team started 4-4 in spring training. They're starting to really hit it off. They went on a 4 or 5 game run now, win streak in spring training. So I'm looking at the Yankees for sure, not just because it's my team. They're starting to look like the division leader for the American East. So I'm very excited about what they can do.
I know that preseason is not an indicator of how teams are going to be doing in the regular season. But do you think that there are some teams right now that they need to make some adjustments, or else they will be unsuccessful in the regular season?
Teams that need to make adjustments. Specifically, a team that sticks out, and a team that probably wants to get back to contending is a team like the Houston Astros. After they had some big departures, I think they really want to focus on where do we go from here? How do we still define success? How are they going to complete their rotation? There's still questions there. How do they design their lineup? I think we still have to wait and see. I think they've been doing a lot of experimenting so far this season. And definitely another team that I would consider, how do they complete their rotation, and definitely some adjustments that need to be made. I have to go with the St. Louis Cardinals. I know they've had some injuries in their team. They just added Nolan Arenado, who is phenomenal player. But how do you complete that rotation right now? Big shout out actually to my guy Alex Reyes. A colleague from high school who actually plays for the Cardinals. Today. He's in the bullpen rotation right now. But those are big questions. How do they complete their fives? Their 5 starters? I think Carlos Martinez. There's been some things there, some inconsistencies there, and so that's a big question mark. And I think that's key and important for some of these teams in these very competitive divisions to really define success in the long haul. So right now, I'd say Houston and definitely St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. It's sandwich time. Before we talk about, we're gonna start bringing this in, start closing the show out. But I want to eat. I'm gonna just give you a virtual cheers to you.
Cheers. This looks great, by the way. I'm so excited to try this.
I'm excited too. I literally just came up with this recipe I put like 3 recipes together and I was like, this is the one. So, buen provecho.
This is the best thing I've ever done for sure in the kitchen. This looks great. So, so we're really about to find out if I did a good job. So I'm kind of nervous, but here we go.
I think you did great because I did great. This is delicious. This is good. This is good.
It is so good. It is so good. You know when you get stuck eating something and you can't cut through it, so you just end up taking the whole piece? That's what kind of just happened to me. And so I'm awkwardly trying to continue the conversation and somehow I'm just chewing for like hours. It felt like, no, it's phenomenal. I mean, I'm really happy with how good it is. It's so good. It's really, really good. It's really good.
Okay, before you take another bite, let's get to our last question. I had a few other questions, but I'm running out of camera space, and this is too good for me to just not keep eating it. So, World Series contenders, what 2 teams do you see in October battling it out for the pennant?
2 teams. If I had to make a guess, right, and I had to put money on it, I'm going with the New York Yankees because that's my team, and I think this is our year. I really think 2021 is a bright day for New York. I think we go the long haul. I think we go all the way. I'm going with the New York Yankees, and I have to go with the San Diego Padres as well. I think this is a team that's electric. They have the right people in place, and I think with their new pitching rotation, I think those guys are going deep and they're going to win. I think that is my prediction for this season, but I have the Yankees as the champions. I have the World Series champions, the New York Yankees for 2021. I'm calling it today. If this doesn't happen,
right now on my show,
I'm doing it on your show. If this doesn't happen, you have permission to use this, and I hope that is not the case. But no, I really think that this is our year. I'm really excited about the New York Yankees and what we'll be able to accomplish in 2021.
Right. Abel, thank you so much for joining me. I want to thank you so much for making this work. I know we have like equipment all over the place just to make this happen, and I'm just so grateful for this, and I'm glad that you just took the time out of your day to help film us. So thank you. Film this with us. So thank you.
No, thank you for having me. It was really fun. I learned something new, how to do a Cuban sandwich, and I think I can now brag a little bit about my skills in the kitchen. But no, thanks to you. It was really fun to be on here and talk sports. Welcome anytime to invite me again. I'd love to come on and talk.
I will.
Baseball is just picking up, so I'm excited. I'm excited.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks again for having me.
Sounds good. Thanks, Abel. You have an amazing day. And to all my followers, thank you so much for joining us today. This is Sizzling Hot with SM. I'm Sarah Michelle, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you don't follow me on social media yet, make sure that you go to the links in the description down below. As always, my name is Sarah Michelle. This is Sizzling Hot with Sarah Michelle, and I will see you next time. Bye.